office. Claire's win is an important one because of her work and the work of everyone in this room that volunteered, knocked doors, made phone calls, donated, and more. We have once more secured a Democratic Socialist stronghold in Western Queens. And because of your work, we have an incredible Democratic Socialist Latina union organizer in office. And what I really wanted to talk about today was how Claire is made for this moment. At a time when corporations are exploiting their workers without shame, Claire is rooted in union organizing. At a time when the climate catastrophe is worsening, Claire is fighting for a Green New Deal. At a time when the right is counting on bringing out the absolute worst in us, Claire is working on bringing us all together. And that work is evident by the diversity and number of community of organizers in this room. It's no secret that we're living through a dark political moment. Just last week, the President of the United States signed the order to end birthright citizenship. This week, he set daily quotas to round up our neighbors, friends, and family members. Just a few days ago, he tried to freeze federal aid, the lifeline so many depend on in a cost of living crisis. But even in the face of all of this, Claire's win is proof that our movement is still growing and still strong. Our ability to win isn't determined by the cruelty and chaos of the other side. It's determined by how hard we are willing to organize and fight to win the world we deserve. And that's what Claire is. She's a fighter. Claire has proven her ability to fight for all of us from her days organizing with her union to her days organizing with DSA. She's always had a keen eye for doing what's right and standing by her values. And many of you may not know this, but when Claire was in high school, there was no recycling receptacles or pickups. So she asked her teacher to set paper aside, and after school, she would pick it up herself and take it to a drop-off site. That's who Claire is. She's someone who doesn't just talk about change, she makes it happen. She gets the job done. This is also, of course, demonstrated by her successful run for assembly. Through her run, she inspired her district to believe that a better future is possible, that workers deserve it all, and that tenants do not have to accept the high cost of rent. She brought this energy to the doors and even to spaces where it wasn't popular. During her campaign, Claire was once at the Ridgewood Property Owners Association. It's a forum, and even though it was clear that the room was not in agreement with her politics, she was undeterred. She spoke clearly and boldly about her views on housing, and at the end, one of the members walked up to her and said, "I don't agree with you, but you have guts to say what you said in this room, and I respect that." And Claire isn't stopping now. Just weeks into her term, she's already introduced a bill to protect tenants from negligent landlords who force people out of their homes after disasters. She's fighting for people already. We need more leaders like Claire, leaders who show up, speak out, and never back down. That's what Assembly District 37 is getting with Claire. Someone who knows what it means to stand by their values. Someone who will always put people over profit, and someone who will never be intimidated. Claire, I want you to look around this room. You may not always see us when you're in Albany fighting for what's right, and on hard days, when it feels like the world is stacked against you, I want you to remember this room. Remember the people here who have your back. Because even when you can't see or hear us, we are with you. And to everyone in this room, I want you all to look around as well. Some of the hardest days are ahead of us. There will be moments when the road feels long, when the battles feel endless, when the forces against us seem unstoppable. But in those moments, I want you to remember your neighbors here today. We have everything we need to win a better future. We have each other, and as long as we have solidarity, we are unstoppable. We are just getting started, and this victory, Claire's victory, isn't the end of the fight. It's the beginning. Thank you.
That was beautiful. I want to welcome a couple other Assembly members in the House. Assembly Member Alex Morez. Assembly Member Paul Anderson. Welcome again to all. I am so pleased to introduce the next speaker on our list. My state senator, one of the first campaigns I ever volunteered on, and to see the arc from the dark days of 2018 to the dark days of 2024 is in some ways depressing, but in other ways incredible to see the people in this room. So, State Senator Valdez.
Thank you, Jeremy. Hello, everyone. Hi, Center for Sport. It really is an honor to be here to celebrate Claire. I first met Claire 5 or 6 years ago now, when we were both organizing with the New York City Democratic Socialists of America, a political, give it up for DSA, a political home for both of us then and now. Claire, at the time, she did not organize because she had aspirations to run for state assembly or even to be a politician. She organized out of a love for humanity, for her neighbors, for her community, and that is what motivated her to do this work. And thankfully, when she was asked and others saw her leadership and saw her ability to serve her community and the need for her to do that as an elected official, she responded to that call, and we're very grateful that she did. What I have known of Claire and witnessed from her and her character over the years that we have organized together is that she is dynamic, but also kind. She leads with confidence, but also with humility. She does not have an ego, but she is always seeking to make the maximum impact without having an ego about this work and allowing that to get in the way, as is often the case. This is not the case for Claire. She truly represents what it means to be a servant leader. Her leadership, as others have mentioned, it has been developed by the labor movement, and she brings those lessons and experiences into the legislature. That is something that we deeply need. It is an experience of and commitment to solidarity with one another. It is understanding that we belong to one another, and that is evident in everything that Claire Valdez does. In a political moment in which demagogues and oligarchs seem to be dominating the political climate, certainly the national political climate, we need Claire Valdez in the State Assembly. We really do. We need Claire in the Assembly. We need leaders like Claire at every level of government, fighting for working people, bringing the voices and the demands of everyday New Yorkers into the halls of power. And that, I promise you, Claire is already doing. And I'm just so grateful and honored to not only have the experience of organizing with Claire before she was elected, but now get to call her a colleague in the State Assembly. It is a beautiful thing. And it is something that has only been possible, of course, because of Claire's willingness to lead, her willingness to run when asked, but also, of course, thanks to many people in this room, everyone in this room. So congratulate yourselves today. We're celebrating Claire's victory, but truly this is a victory for all of us. It is a victory for Claire's constituents, every single person in this district, whether they voted for her or not. But she had an incredible victory, as we know. But she is fighting for everyone, even those who don't yet know her or know this movement. But through her leadership, through her work, more people will be brought into the movement for equality, the movement for workers, for equity, for justice. And that is a beautiful thing. It is bigger than any of us, I think, have yet seen or can imagine the impact of Claire's victory, Claire being elected to the state assembly, and getting to serve our communities and our city and our state. So Claire, congratulations. I'm so thrilled to get to celebrate you, and I cannot wait to see all of the amazing work that you do in the assembly.
I'm pleased to introduce our next speaker, Congresswoman Nydia Velazquez. Congresswoman Velazquez just told me she got off a call from her office with over 200 people, training them for ICE Know Your Rights training to prevent I also want to say personally, she's my congresswoman, and I am incredibly proud and moved that she was one of the very first people in Congress to support a ceasefire in Gaza last year.
Thank you so much. Claire, I am so proud. You were relentless, you were determined, and you showed that you wanted to be a public servant on behalf of the people of the Assembly District 37. So congratulations to all of you for having the willingness, for giving her the opportunity to serve. And to all my colleagues in office, thank you for being here. I told her staff that I wasn't planning to come because I wasn't feeling well. I had a bad fall in Washington and wasn't feeling well, but I went to the doctor and the doctor said he couldn't believe how I didn't break my hip. And I said, well, I'm gonna be here for a long time. Enough time to give Donald Trump a big head. We have a lot of work to do. We have a lot of work to do. It is just amazing, unbelievable to see, that this man has been given another opportunity. We have to show with our actions and our determination to remind him that he is not a king, that this is a democracy, and that we, the people, will hold him accountable. He's preying upon the most vulnerable, and that is shameful. And the way that he's doing it is to distract us from the real issues. He doesn't want the people to have the opportunity to see everything that is bad coming out of Washington, D.C. With everyone that he has picked to represent, to be the heads of those federal agencies. The main requirement is that that person doesn't believe in the mission of those agencies. Look at it, EPA, each one of them, they don't believe in climate change. They don't believe that working people deserve an increase in the minimum wage. And so when we get lost every day, when we kind of get overwhelmed, we need to remind ourselves that we gotta be prepared and ready to fight back. Because what he's trying is to distract the country and the nation from the real issues that we are confronting. So the state of New York, the state assembly, the Senate, you are going to play a more important role. You are going to be a buffer between everything that is coming out of Washington and trying to protect the people of New York State. And that includes, of course, the governor. We cannot take a page out of the Republican Party or out of the administration in Washington to try to calm the people here. Being undocumented in this country doesn't make you a criminal. In this country have rights. And so, for anyone to try to be on the nice side of President Donald Trump, you're wasting your time. So we have to be very, very careful with actions taken in the state of New York or the city council or the legislature in the state of New York. Because we have a big responsibility, and that is to protect the most vulnerable in the state of New York. And so, Claire, I want to be able to continue to say, look, this is all about working people. And a shadow president, Elon Musk, everything that the president is doing is just to distract us from the fact that Elon Musk is pulling the string of the president and other federal agencies. So we have to be very cautious and we have to be prepared to fight. And we cannot continue to do the things that we have been doing and expect a different result. We have to be courageous and instill a faith in the people so that they don't jump to the other side because they have no faith in the Democratic Party or elected officials. We need to give them a sense that we're going to be there fighting for them with determination, with faith, and with courage. And let me just end by saying this. Democracy is vulnerable, is really vulnerable. With a blink of an eye, we could have an oligarch turn this country the way that we never thought could happen. It is up to us, the people, to fight for what is right and the determination to make sure that we are going to do right by the people and we're going to do right by this nation. So, Claire, this moment has found you. And I have the faith that you're going to rise to this moment. And you're going to make possible that every Latino, every immigrant, and every person in this country have the feeling that they are being seen and valued. Gracias.
I think, this state, and welcome to Assembly Member Jessica Gonzalez-Rojas. Again, I think, it's not only Claire's ethos of not me, us, but really this inauguration is an opportunity not just to celebrate the inauguration of a new democratic socialist working class champion into Albany, into the state assembly. It's also a chance for us to rededicate ourselves to the struggles ahead, to the hard fights to come, to fighting the millionaires and the billionaires, because Donald Trump did not appear out of nowhere. This has been happening, and part of the reason, the inspiring kind of arc from from State Senator Julia Salazar, sorry, I was pointing in your direction, to Claire Valdez and all the amazing people in this kind of post-Trump moment who've risen into office is that fight against not only the far right and the Donald Trumps of the world, but against the deeper causes that have made it possible for their rot to fester in our society, the millionaires and the billionaires that have increasingly throttled and destroyed our political system. And of course, a key central node in that fight is in elected office, is knocking on doors in our communities, and is in our workplaces in building the labor movement. So I want to welcome our final guest speaker, President of UAW, United Auto Workers, Region 9A, Brandon Mencia.
I am incredibly overwhelmed and excited to be here with you all today. Claire Valdez, she's one of us. At UAW, Region 9A, we represent 50,000 active and retired members, from auto workers in Fishkill, New York, to the movie theater workers at Alamo Draft House, who recently took a strike vote with 98% vote. And Claire is one of us. We talk a lot about, what a working class candidate is today, what a working class leader is, right? We're talking about what do working class people think about, what are their issues, what are their interests? And the Republican Party is trying to position itself, right, as the new spokesperson for working class people, for working families. Claire is exactly the kind of leader that is going to lead us into this new era of fighting back against that Republican co-optation of working class politics. We need working class people to run for office in this country at all levels. From city council to state senate and state assembly to Congress to the White House, right? That's what we need in this country. It's people who can actually understand what the struggles are and what the values are and what we hold dear, what we need in this country, right? We have a cost of living crisis. We have healthcare crisis. We have a housing crisis. Every single aspect of life that affects working class people is what we need leaders to rise up right now and speak out and run for office in order to create an alternative, right? An alternative to that all of our speakers today have shown the opposite of, right? With Donald Trump and Elon Musk running this country. We talk a lot about, in this country, about, the union brand, right? Folks always, they want our endorsements because they're gonna stand up for working people and speak out for union issues. And we have a lot of those champions, authentic champions here right now with us today. So we wanna thank all of the leaders in this room who do stand with unions, and a round of applause for them. But Claire is unique, right? Oftentimes, we get folks that also fill out our questionnaire for endorsement who say that they were once, a union member, right? They were a teacher for a period of time, or they worked in the city and therefore belong to a city union. And that's great. We need those folks to run as well. But Claire is a union leader and a union organizer, right? And that's the difference, right, with Claire. Claire is someone who didn't just sign a union card, right, and paid her dues. Claire is someone who got involved, someone who ran to lead her unit, someone who sat down on the other side of management and negotiated and represented her members at Columbia University, right, and demanded a fair contract. Claire is someone who saw that her union, right, the UAW, needed to turn around, needed to return to its roots, fighting for the working class, empowering its members across the different industries we represent, instead of just, going along to get along, right? That's who Claire is. So Claire, not only has that union card and that union brand, Claire is also responsible for the election of Sean Fain. So if you see that movement that emerged in the UAW over the last 2 years to fight, to organize workers in the South at places like Volkswagen in Chattanooga, Tennessee, that fought for justice for Big Three workers, and now we're fighting for justice here for legal services workers and academic workers and movie theater workers and museum workers. Claire is a part of that movement and a leader within that movement. And that's what makes her different, right? So with Claire, we don't have someone who we have to explain what it's like to be a working class person because she's lived it. We don't have to explain to her why unions matter because she was a leader within it. And we definitely don't have to explain to her what direction we need to go in as a movement because she's constantly working to steer that movement. So we're beyond proud of our member, one of our leaders, Claire, for stepping up. And it's a great excitement that we want to tell Claire today not only how proud we are of her, but how much we love her as well.
So now we, I believe, are going to do the swearing in. And you should show the.
Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Claire Valdez, do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of New York, and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of member of the New York State Assembly according to the best of my ability. Congratulations.
I can't tell you how much it means to see so many of my friends and colleagues and comrades and neighbors in this room. It's so profoundly moving, and it gives me an immense sense of joy. I wanted to shout out all of the, not just folks who knocked doors, but specifically I wanted to obviously shout out DSA, UAW, Make the Road, Drum is in the house, working families. And I'm so honored because that's our movement, that's where we're working. I wanted to also thank Study Community Services for hosting us. Thank you so much to Judith and to Monica, not only just for letting us use the space today, but for all of the work that you do for our community. This is an incredible organization that serves thousands and thousands of our neighbors every single day and really provides a home for so many people in Sunnyside. SDS is really the beating heart of our community, so thank you so much for being here. I ran for office because my union changed my life, We talked a lot, or Brandon at least talked a lot about my work in UAW, but really it's such a transformational thing to see that when everyday working people come together, we can move mountains. And I saw that in my union. I saw that when we come together, we can beat the boss, we can win the good life, not just for ourselves and our families, but for our coworkers in the shop, and we can spread that message across the labor movement too. I am so profoundly lucky to be the beneficiary of generations of organizing that preceded me. I've been blessed to stand on the shoulders of union leaders and union organizers who sacrificed so much for the dignity and the basic rights that not only I get to enjoy, but so many other people enjoy. And I'm profoundly proud to be part of that history and that organizing. I'm really happy to see so many UAW members here today. Bargaining campaign kickoff tomorrow. You should all come. It's going to be so much fun. There's so much hope to be found in workers' struggle for a better world. ALA, for example, isn't just bargaining for themselves. They're bargaining for the communities they serve, and they're bargaining for all of us, really. And it's a really beautiful thing to see, especially in a moment when it feels that possibilities are being foreclosed. We have to look at each other for strength and for discipline and for hope and for joy. We have to remember that we are many and they are few. The task before us is enormous, and the Congressman spoke really beautifully about this. We have to be incredibly sober about the next 4 years and even beyond that. Climate chaos is here. ICE is at our neighbors' doors. Our rent is still too damn high, and eking out a decent living in New York City is still impossible for far, far too many of us. But we know that in the richest city and the richest country that this world has ever known, no one should have to scrape by to make a living, and no one should live in fear. This quote by the late playwright and activist and scholar Lorraine Hansberry. You all probably know her, but she was a leftist and a Black lesbian and an artist in a moment when none of those things were easy to be. And she died far too young. She had more things to give us. But after describing the necessity for us all to engage in all forms of struggle, to strike and to boycott and to petition and to pray, she said that the acceptance of our present condition is the only form of extremism, which discredits us before our children. And I couldn't agree more. Thank you all so much for being here. Thank you to my colleagues. I can't wait to work together. And thank you to everyone else, because the work continues. Our struggle has only begun. Solidarity.